Welcome back to Gutter Wisdom. For the next few episodes, Brittany Wittig and I are sitting in the discomfort of weird internet baggage in the realm of sexual healing. The idea of this conversation started when Brittany began collecting internet posts that gave her the ick. Something in her system went, "Get the fuck out of here." But she really didn't know why. And instead of overriding it, she called in the big guns. Me. So we're taking some of the internet's favorite ideas about sexuality, healing, intimacy, and spirituality and holding them up to a light. I'm not here to tell you what to believe, but I do want you to get better at noticing when what gets sold to you as liberation and freedom is actually just oppressive BS in a new, pretty package. If you're new here, I recommend starting at episode 10 or all the way at the beginning if you're really wanting to learn a thing or two about how we keep it real and holy in these parts. If you've been with me since the jump, let's keep it rolling. In the last episode, we talked about what happens when desire becomes something to diagnose. Today, we move into the next distortion that happens after you've been convinced something is wrong. That's the moment that someone offers you a method, a ritual, a framework, a manifestation practice, a formula to put everything in a pretty package of fixed it. And if the formula doesn't pan out, well, then maybe you're a shitbag, or you didn't surrender enough, or you didn't align enough, or you didn't believe enough, or your orgasm wasn't powerful enough. This episode starts with a post about sex magic, but we're really actually talking about something way fucking bigger. The human desire to reduce uncertainty. To believe that if we become spiritual enough, healed enough, embodied enough, life will finally become controllable, predictable. This conversation is an interrogation of manifestation culture and the very real psychological damage when y'all turn what's supposed to be recess into homework. Let's see what survives the Brooklyn bullshit detector, shall we?
So another post, and this one is a little more vague for me. It's hard for me to like that post I just explained. It was very easy for me to pinpoint what, at least a bit of what felt so icky. This next one, it's a little harder for me to understand. So the next post is like a very um traditionally put together white woman speaking on a very well curated kind of platform podcast about sex magic, MAGICK. And she's talking about how you can use it to manifest what you want. And I think she might even refer to like manifesting like things like money and that sort of thing. And I can't put my finger on it. I would love to know what your thoughts are on this post because I've noticed the sex magic thing often feels this way to me. And I don't know why it is because on one level, it makes sense to me that that would be possible, but it just often feels icky in the way it's presented.
Again, great discernment. It's gross. When I see posts around sex magic, I'm regularly puking it in my mouth. So I'm really excited to have this like demystification of why it can be problematic and also harmful. And I'll talk about like why is this narrative potentially harmful for people other than the massive distortion of truth. So going off of this like neat and tidy kind of energy, do you notice how in that post there's well, figure out what you want and then bring it to your sex and then turn yourself on and then put it all through every channel and then at the peak of pleasure, throw your desire up with your orgasm so that you manifest it.
Yeah. Okay.
This linear progression is the first problem with it is trying to make very neat and tidy a very chaotic, haphazard, nonlinear process.
Right.
So, sex magic, yes, I don't always resonate with the word magic, but I'll call it like erotic alchemy. Erotic alchemy is certainly powerful, but it does not fit into this neat and tidy box, right? That is this colonial kind of oppression that is inherently saying, I know more than nature. I know more than how I ought to be authentically expressing. And so I will overpower my natural expression. I will overpower my destiny to call in what I believe I should be having in this lifetime.
Ooh! Whoa. Oh my gosh. I just have to take a second with what you just said because it resonates,
Yeah.
like, so intensely. Francesca, wow. It resonates so intensely, and it goes so far beyond just sex magic. Wow. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So the big distortions with sex magic is one saying it doesn't exist. And anyone who's listening to this podcast is probably not in that camp. The other distortion is this magical thinking. And it's when you use your personal power, the erotic fire to prop up this fantasy and give it life and attempting to give it right. But it's not true. Like what is true is just true. I'm going to say that a different way because I recognize I got a little ethereal. It's like the desire to control your outcome versus allowing for the outcome to reveal itself.
Mm.
So I like to use the analogy of the tree here. The tree does not wake up in the morning and say, I really want to bloom a flower today. So I am going to think my way and use all of my tree energy to push and bloom this flower. And then when I throw up all of this manifestation energy, I'm going to bloom, right? A tree just pays attention to what is true and then blooms effortlessly. So it pays attention to the ambient temperature. It pays attention to the sun. It pays attention to how its roots feel in the earth. It pays attention to the water that's in the soil. And then from all of these sensations, moves the nutrients, turns the sun into yummy sugars, like moves everything around. And then the bloom just happens. You don't have to try. There's an effortlessness around it. And so, magic, alchemy, really at its core, is aligning yourself with authentic expression, the true nature of your being, of your soul, of your destiny. It's about aligning to it. And I'm doing this thing with my hands, kind of like bring both hands together in a pillar. It's like you're aligning with your destiny, not attempting to control your destiny. That's the difference here.
Oh, wow. This is amazing. I'm making the mind-blowing motion emoji motion with my head. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. I mean, I'm gonna have so much to think about after this interview. I mean, this speaks to the entire new age obsession with manifestation and how that's done and how it's so funny because yeah, how that also just has never felt quite right, and I haven't been able to figure it out, like, because there have been pieces of it that seem to work for me, but at some point, I kind of just abandoned the whole idea because it just didn't feel right, and this is like the sex magic seems to be the sexual branch of that new age obsession with manifestation.
Yes. Yes. The spell casting, and that's what this post really was. It was talking about spell casting, using your sexual energy as the force to cast the spell, spell casting can go awry because you're applying your will force to a portrait of what you think. And the truth is, you don't know. You don't know where your life is going. You don't know what your creations are really going to be. You don't know. And so I had one teacher who was, I don't study under them anymore. And they used to say, magic is the application of your will force so that situations, people, and circumstances bend to your will, to your desires. And there's a lot of shadow in that. There's a lot of shadow in that statement. And that statement is filled with a distorted savior complex. It's a masked savior complex. I know more than X, Y, and Z. And so, therefore, I'm going to use my power, influence a situation.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. That is big. That's big. And I 100% resonates. I mean, completely. And I'm seeing right away in my mind's eye, I'm seeing ways that I can lean into this and let go of some of the ways that I have been trying to control my reality without true trust for nature, the
Mm.
universe.
What often happens in this manifestation, sex magic thing, the harmful piece of it, and we'll go back to like, there must be something wrong with me. Say you have a goal, a financial goal, a goal for lovership, whatever. You have a genuine desire. And so you do this ritual and you bring that desire to your sex magic, and then nothing happens. What the narrative is going to say is, you didn't tap into your erotic power enough. You didn't throw it up strongly in your orgasm. Your orgasm didn't go deep enough for the universe to hear you. There's just a laundry list of other pathological things that are going to be projected onto you. And at its core is saying, you're not good enough. You didn't do it right. Right. So, what if you're in like the budding season of a new thing that you're creating? And you say, "Oh, I want a $10,000 month." Oh, this is what those manifestation, money, marketing people are gonna talk like, "Okay, well, you just bring it to your meditation, manifest it, become the magnetic field for all this money." But, like, that's not the time that the fruit is supposed to be blooming on your tree. That's not what's happening here. You're going to internalize that most likely, that you did something wrong, there's something wrong with your creations, etc. So there's a rewilding that is being called for within erotic alchemy. And I learned this from a teacher that I am still studying under, and I will name her. Her name is Jumana. I got these 4 words from her, and they kind of revolutionized the way that I approach my alchemy now. And the first is listen. So in the example of the tree, I'm paying attention to the sun, to the wind, to the water, and then follow it. I follow my desires. In this Instagram post, remember she said, like, it's using your pleasure to manifest. Okay, we're going to reframe that to be rooted in eternal truth now. We are going to follow our pleasure. We are going to follow what feels good. And in the example of the tree, if the roots are growing down and all of a sudden it hits concrete, does the root say, I must force this to go this way? No, it follows what feels good and just moves. It just moves. When there's an abundance of water in the soil, it feels good to drink all of that in. When there's warm sun, it feels good to receive all that. Listen, then follow. Follow your pleasure. Follow what feels good, what lights you up. The third one, commune. Actually connect with what you are receiving as you follow all that you hear. Commune with it, become one with it. And then From that place of communion, you fully see what is next for you, what the next step is, what's true for me now? That's when you command, "Oh, okay. This is the next action for me. I will go do that now." That's where the magic really unfolds, this continuous listening, following, communing, and then commanding. And then life becomes this magical miracle over and over and over again. And you're like, holy shit. It just keeps presenting itself. And I don't have to try so hard. But easier said than done. But that's the eternal truth that this woman is attempting to name, but it's just not ripe in her yet.
8. Oh my goodness. I have chills all over. I feel like I can feel like the truth, capital T truth of what you're sharing here. It's really beautiful. Thank you.
What I wrote down and I want to say is that you are the magic. You serve a greater magic.
Mm,
And I think that's what has kept me anchored through all of the external narrative out there to say, what am I serving? What am I in service to? What greater magic is coming into my vessel? Am I an instrument for? I am magic, but I'm serving a greater magic, and that greater magic is moving through me. I am not dictating that magic.
right. Right. Oh my gosh. I love it. And it's like, it's kind of like next level. It's next level surrender. And it's also a next level understanding that it's like our ego that is making decisions about the exact specific thing that we want to make happen. And so there's this, like you said, the tree is not like, oh, there's concrete. And so we need to do everything we can to bust through that concrete. That's not how it works. But often that's like how our human brain wants to do things, which I mean, this is just brilliant. Thank you. Just I'm like just contemplating out loud. But this conversation is going to change the way I interact with my intuition and with
Mm,
nature so much. And I already feel like I have a pretty strong connection there. I mean, this is really going to help me so much. And so I know it's going to help everyone listening. This is powerful
mm,
stuff.
mhm. In the realm of sexuality, because we talked pretty like
Yeah.
broad about magic, I just want to touch into okay, then in the realm of sexuality, you're still kind of following these pillars of surrender, of listening, following, communing, and then commanding, and how it has showed up for me and often for my clients, how I'm reframing the work that we're doing in the healing arts of the erotic is listening to our desires. Just listening to what turns you on, what makes you feel yummy, what feels pleasurable, period, without any pathologizing around it, regardless of how fast you come, regardless of whether you come or not, regardless of how dark it is. No pathologizing, just listen and then following it, actually being in the flow with that desire. Okay, this is my fantasy. I'm going to follow it. I'm going to explore it and truly becoming one with that desire, communing with the expression, communing with, if you're playing in partnership, communing with the energy that you're exchanging with. And on the other side of sexual transformational sexual experiences, which I want to say every sexual experience has potential to be transformational if you are moving from a listen, follow, and commune perspective. On the other side of it, it's usually very clear like, oh, Oh, this is what I've been holding on to. Oh, this is what's meant to bloom next. Oh, this is the leaf that's supposed to shed now. Oh, this is the behavior I have outgrown, right? But there's no rush in that revelation. It just comes after you listen, follow, and commune. And then commanding feels natural. Oh, I'm just not going to do that thing anymore that I don't want to do. Oh, I'm just oh, I am a person who likes to drink piss now. That's what gets me off. Great.
Oh, that's amazing. That in itself is also really mind-opening. This idea of when we're zooming in, again, zooming back into the sexual erotic energy, yeah, just listening to what turns us on without judgment. I mean, I feel like that alone, just that step alone is, probably a huge step forward for a lot of people. Yeah.
Yes, it is. That is revolutionary. And that is really following your pleasure and letting your pleasure, quote, manifest. If you want to use the word manifest, like just following your pleasure without judgment, right? The root of the tree doesn't say, "Oh, it feels better to make a left turn than a right turn over here." So but I must be a piece of shit of a tree because I don't want to go left, right?
Right! Oh, it's so
Mhm.
true.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
We're going to press pause on this chat for now, but I want to leave you with something that Brittany and I touched on over and over again in this conversation. You're not broken. You're not behind. And life definitely isn't unfolding according to someone's 12-point plan. Sometimes the most radical thing you can do is stop forcing and start living. Next week, we close this series. We're talking about the increased popularity of Tantra, polarity, sacred language, and how that distracts you from what's actually happening under the surface. That's where ancient traditions get extracted, repackaged, and sold back to you as identity. Skirt! Before you disappear, go take the engineering hotness quiz, because there's a lot of loud-ass advice out there about what, quote, healthy intimacy should look like. And real talk, some of y'all trying to build IKEA relationships using somebody else's instructions. And contrary to what Instagram keeps trying to sell you, there is no universally correct way to fuck around. Go figure out what actually creates sexy, sustainable connections for you. You can take the engineering hotness quiz at priestessfrancesca.com/quiz. And tune in next week for my next round of sassy side eyes. Until then, keep your mind in the gutter, y'all. You'd be surprised at what you find in the dark.